Hey guys, we finally got our first look at the PlayStation 5, and let me get this right out of the way. I don't really like how it looks. Now, no matter what I say about this, I will get comments on both sides, from people saying it looks incredible, and from people saying that it's the worst looking piece of hardware ever created, and that I'm completely right or completely wrong. But that was my gut reaction when they showed. Now, it's grown on me. I kind of like it a bit more now than when I first saw it, but it's also absolutely massive, which wasn't really conveyed during the presentation, but this is basically larger than any other previous console ever. It's obvious that this thing was designed with airflow in mind, since it has this massive gap between the black and white sections, and when you put it on its side, it seems like most of the unit remains lifted off the ground, which would again increase the airflow. On its side, especially when looking at it from an angle, it doesn't look too bad, but I'm just not a big fan of the two-color design. Again, some people will love this and some won't. I would like to see a completely black unit, but whatever, at the end of the day, the way it looks doesn't really matter too much. Also, I think it's a really good idea to have one unit with a Blu-ray drive and another one be completely digital. You shouldn't have to pay for the additional cost of the drive if you're not interested in that, and it means that they can get a slightly cheaper product out there. I think this reveal shows a fundamental difference between how Sony and Xbox are marketing their consoles. When Xbox showed the Series X, they showed the box. They really only talked about the hardware. Even now, they are talking about it being backwards compatible, and they have a bunch of marketing terms for all the new features like velocity architecture, smart delivery, and the quick resume. But still, they haven't shown a single game running on the Series X. The event back in May was nothing but a bunch of cinematic trailers. And please don't take this as me saying that the Series X games will look bad and that's why they haven't shown anything yet or something like that. I'm not saying that. They will look incredible, but I don't think the games are their strong points. They don't have the games to go toe-to-toe with Sony yet, and probably won't for at least 2 more years, which is why their strategy is so different. Sony's PlayStation 5 hardware reveal was the very end of the presentation, which made it pretty clear that the whole focus was on the games. They even actually said that.
We're gonna have the games do our talking.
There was no mention of PlayStation Now, the ability to play PlayStation 4 games, or even PlayStation VR, which I thought was extremely odd. They even stated again that they believe in generations, once again focusing on new games for new hardware coming to the PlayStation 5. Microsoft is positioning itself as the best place to play games, which is heavily tied to Game Pass. They seem to be going for a, hey, you know, you can play anything on your Xbox, instead of focusing on the draw of specific games, which is what Sony is all about. So, back to the presentation. After a brief, confusing start showing off some offers for GTA 5, they started knocking it out of the park with a bunch of cool games. First, boom! Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is absolutely huge. Everyone expected that they would show off the new Spider-Man game, but I don't think anyone was seriously considering it would be coming this year. Now granted, this seems to be a standalone game, much in the vein of something like Uncharted Lost Legacy or Infamous Dying Light, but in any case, no matter what the scope actually is, getting a new Spider-Man game to launch alongside the PlayStation 5 is incredibly smart. The trailer for the game has already something like 9 million views on the PlayStation channel alone, which is absolutely insane. They followed this up with Gran Turismo, which obviously looks incredible because Gran Turismo games always do. This is a new numbered game in the series and not a follow-up to GT Sport, so it will feature a campaign and all of that. No release date yet, but they did show off some gameplay. I won't go over every single thing that they showed, but after Gran Turismo, they revealed a new Ratchet & Clank game called Rift Apart, which is clearly a showcase of the PlayStation 5's power. It seems like one of the core mechanics will be stepping from one dimension to another, which looks absolutely breathtaking. There's only a very short transition animation while an entire level is being loaded, and you know, it's not some barren world, but a full-on animated scene with tons of objects in play. It is extremely impressive. Once again, no release date, but with the depth of gameplay that they showed, this seems to be pretty close to release. They teased something called Project Athia, which is being developed by the team behind Final Fantasy 15, which seems to be in early development and will be exclusive to PlayStation 5. We didn't get to see very much besides some cool landscapes and boss encounters, but you know, it looks cool. That's pretty much all we know right now. There's also a new Little Big Planet game that's not a Little Big Planet game at all, but actually just a standalone platformer called Sackboy, which seems okay, nothing spectacular, but it does seem like the floaty jump physics from the older games is extremely reduced here, which is, you know, pretty good. The true big exclusive games on the list besides Spider-Man are probably Demon's Souls and Horizon Forbidden West. Demon's Souls has been rumored to be getting a remastered version for quite some time now, and for fans of Dark Souls, this is a huge deal. I'm not one of those people, so I don't really care much anyway, and I did find it weird that there's no release date given how long the rumor has been going around. But then again, pretty much the only thing with a release date was Spider-Man. A first look at the next Horizon game was a given. This looks unbelievably good. With these mammoths and underwater sections, Horizon is one of my favorite games for the PlayStation 4, and I can't wait to see what they manage to do with the new hardware and where the story goes. If you haven't played Horizon yet, I would highly recommend it. It's not perfect by any means, but the story is one of the best that I have ever seen in a video game. It's even, you know, up to par with some of the best sci-fi movies out there. It is extremely good. There's more to the presentation, but you get the gist of it. This was all about the games, and I think PlayStation did a great job. First of all, showing off gameplay in pretty much every single reveal. This is something that I've criticized of Microsoft in the past, since they seem to focus heavily on cinematic trailers, even as launch trailers, instead of showing off gameplay, which is what really matters. If you take a look at the Xbox YouTube channel, you will have an extremely tough time finding actual gameplay videos of pretty much anything. Second, it seems like most of the stuff that they showed is coming relatively soon. This again relates to the point of gameplay. If you show gameplay, it's because the game is at least at the stage where level design, weapons and such are pretty much implemented and workable. Obviously, you can fake gameplay, which is what the Project Athia video seemed to be, but stuff like Gran Turismo, Ratchet & Clank, and some of the other games that they showed, that seemed like actual gameplay. So even though no release dates were given, I would expect most of these games to be coming in the next year. After that, there was a decent amount of time dedicated to hardware, going over the haptic feedback, 3D audio, and overall PS5 hardware, but some of those features don't translate really well. How do you show the haptic feedback or the 3D audio? There is simply no way to do it on a YouTube video, so showing off games is pretty much all they can do, and given the stuff that they have, it works completely in their favor. Now, they did mention earlier that they wanted to do a lot of trade shows and be there in different conferences and events and stuff like that to show off the hardware. I guess that was their plan, to show off the 3D audio and the haptic feedback. But now that they're pretty much, you know, there are no events going on anywhere in the world, I wonder what their strategy will be for showing those features off. Maybe they will get press people to try them out or something, because I don't know how you manage to sell people on those points other than having them try it themselves, which is not something that they can do right now. So yeah, I guess they will struggle to have those as big selling points for the PlayStation 5. Now, I've said it before, I think PlayStation 5's lineup will be stronger than that of the Series X, and that even though Halo Infinite is a launch title, it's not that huge outside of the US. Yes, a lot of people won't agree with that, but just take a look at this. The Halo Infinite trailers have around 12 million views, and they got that in 1 year. The Spider-Man video has already 9 million views in like 3 days. I think that's an insane difference. We'll have to wait and see what Microsoft shows in the July event, if they unveil the rumored cheaper streaming-only console, and if they have anything interesting to show in terms of upcoming games. I already made a video on what to expect from Microsoft Studios, and given the amount of games that they have launching this year for the Xbox One, I doubt that they will have another big launch game other than Halo Infinite. And many people forget this, but whatever they launch has to run on PCs as well, which will inevitably hold them back with what they can accomplish with the Series X hardware. In any case, this will be a very interesting year for games, and I can't wait to see what new announcements and reveals we'll be getting in the coming weeks. Okay guys, that will be all for now. Let me know if you like the PlayStation 5's design down in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe if you want more. Thanks for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next one.